We often think that money and wealth are the solution to all our problems, that with a large sum of money we can fix our life. However, there are times when money can carry a curse, as it is also said that the more resources, the more problems come into life. This is what happened with Cassia Gallanio, who after marrying a powerful and wealthy man, realized that her life had only changed to become a golden cage. Thanks for watching. These are words from Cassia Gallanio to her daughters, 2 months before her demise. The woman had spent her last years embroiled in a legal battle against her husband for custody of her daughters since 2012, as after the divorce, the man refused to take care of their expenses. But while this sounds like a story we can find in any family, the reality is that she was married to the Prince of Qatar, a billionaire man whom she met when she was 18 years old. Unfortunately, she was found lifeless in her apartment, victim of what is presumed to be an overdose of pills. However, her death is full of anomalies that only raise suspicions against her ex-husband. So let's unravel her story, her past, and the mystery of her death. In the end, you will form your own conclusions about the fate of the former princess of Qatar. Kasia was born in 1976 in Poland, but shortly after her birth, they decided to emigrate to the United States, in search, like many, of better opportunities. So they settled in the city of Los Angeles, this in California. She studied economics and business administration, but due to her beauty and her distinctive green eyes, she mainly focused on her modeling career, until in '94, she decided to take a trip to Paris with one of her best friends from university. She was unaware this trip would entirely transform her life. It was in the city of love that she met her future husband, the Prince of Qatar, named Abdelaziz, a man who was 28 years older than her, and who also held a position of power among the Qatari royalty, given that this family had been in power since 1850, the year the country was founded. Despite this, the man was exiled to Paris after a change of power carried out by his nephew and current regent of the World Cup host, Tamim. Prior to his unearthing, this man held positions of great importance in his country as Minister of Oil and Finance for over 20 years, so he had amassed a great fortune. In addition to being a member of the family, Real has access to an incalculable sum of money. And it's not for less, even in his distancing from the country's politics. He owns a luxurious mansion of over 5,000 square meters located on Avenue Montaigne in the 8th district of Paris, a large avenue that connects the Champs-Élysées with the Pont de l'Alma. Now settled in the French capital, during the trip the man did not stop showering her with attention, and although at first she was not interested, she fell for his multiple expensive gifts. I vacationed in Paris. I was with a friend who was dating a French banker. We had gone out and stopped by one of the client's house to sign some documents. It was the home of the Qatari prince, which was impressive. We chatted a bit and exchanged emails. When I returned to Los Angeles, my inbox was full and there were roses at my front door. It was a very pleasant courtship. That's what Kasia recounted in an interview weeks before her tragic demise. Clearly, the prince had fallen victim to her emerald green eyes. Soon, they started a long-distance relationship. But this was not enough for the couple, so they soon got married to be able to tie the knot. The young woman had to convert to Islam, adopting the name Cassia Gallanio, which means the second. However, this was the prince's third marriage. Despite this, she became the Princess of Qatar. The couple had 3 daughters, whom they named Sheikha Malak, Sheikha Yadmin, and Sheikha Rem. As part of the country's tradition, they named all 3 Kasi in the same way, because in their culture it means leader and instructor. Time passed and the marriage lost its shine and splendor. Even though Cassia enjoyed all the luxuries and comforts that a wealthy life can give her, she felt trapped in her marriage, which she often described as a golden cage, since she had her daughters very young and wanted to divorce to be able to live her life. It's time for people to know that not everything is glamorous and perfect. that I also fight for things. Money is a curse as it separates you from many people. It's a different world. I grew up in a normal home, so it was a completely different world. I grew up in the United States, and coming into the royal family as an American was something completely new. That's what the princess declared. But despite her insistence for years to start the divorce process, Abdelaziz refused on numerous occasions, arguing that his religion did not allow it. Until finally, in 2007, he achieved his goal after 17 years of marriage. Although the divorce seemed to suit her well, as she initially began to surround herself with celebrities and her Instagram account gained more than 500,000 followers, over time the flow of money she received from her ex-partner began to decrease, so she found herself needing to start selling her jewelry. However, her celebrity status and all her followers did not help her with her legal situation, as after separating, the couple began a custody battle for their daughters that lasted until 2022, when the prince won the trial, despite Sheikha Rem repeatedly stating that her father touched her inappropriately, something that began when the little girl was 9 years old and continued until she was 15, even forcing her to sleep in his bed. Meanwhile, Cassia had sunk into depression after the court's verdict, where they stated that she was mentally unfit and not capable of handling the lawsuit process against her ex-partner. In addition, they added that on multiple occasions she had been admitted to a psychiatric institution due to her self-destructive tendencies. On multiple occasions during the trials, Rem narrated that her father treated and saw her as if she were his wife, but due to lack of evidence, these accusations were dismissed by the French court. Power, diplomatic immunity, and money should not allow you to do things above the law. I hope that's not true, but I trust my daughter when she says it. Cassia highlighted this in an interview. In addition to the accusations since the beginning of 2021, the man stopped paying for his daughter's education and expenses, and even stopped keeping in touch after the accusations. He had previously maintained a very close relationship, constantly traveling to Paris to see his father, while Cassia had settled in Marbella, Spain. However, his youngest daughter was completely secluded in Qatar, with no possibility of travel. In addition, close people pointed out that she was in a situation of complete school abandonment.
Abdelaziz likes to control me through the girls, which I think is not very polite, but only hurts her.
Similarly, the princess said this. Despite this, the woman found love again in the arms of the artist Bubs, who seemed to support and care for her at all times. The situation, similarly, took a very drastic turn when in the year 2022, just a few weeks before the inauguration of the World Cup, Cassia was unfortunately found lifeless in her apartment. It had been 4 days since Rem tried to contact her. So worried, she contacted the Spanish authorities, and this is where things start to get murky and confusing, because when they arrived at the place, the police did not have to request an order to access the building. The guards simply let them in and forced the lock. They later pointed out that the woman had been found without vital signs in her bed, next to a jar of antidepressants, as well as various bottles of vodka, and her body showed no signs of violence. However, sources close to the case assured that at the scene they found traces of blood-broken glass on the floor, and the body had various bruises on the shoulders. Added to that, it had about 10 days of decomposition. An unofficial version pointed out that the woman, sunk in depression, had ingested large amounts of vodka, and in her drunkenness broke several mirrors that cut her feet to later sink into the antidepressants that took her beyond. She hadn't been drinking alcohol for months, nor did she smoke. She didn't take her own life. She was working on a project that excited her a lot, some wines from France that she was going to market in Marbella. That's what her boyfriend Bubs, the actor, declared after the death of his partner. In contrast to this, one of her domestic workers pointed out that the princess had sunk into a deep depression after learning of the verdict, and that this had completely devastated her, confirming suspicions of an overdose death. My client was devastated by this decision. I think, above all, she died of sorrow. That's what Sabrina Buet, her lawyer during the legal battle, pointed out. This caused all eyes to turn to the prince, who to date has not made any statement or commented on the rumors circulating about his preference for his daughter, raising even more suspicions about the tragic death. After the death was announced, her older daughters flew to Marbella to completely distance themselves from their father and currently live with Sabrina, while the little Rem is still unable to leave her home in Qatar with her father. Despite her close friends describing her as a good person against illegal substances and their abuses, Cassia's image was tarnished after the alleged cause of death was revealed. but it's inevitable to think about the extent that money and power can buy anywhere in the world, leaving the open question of whether her husband had anything to do with her mysterious demise. In the end, it will be you who draw your own conclusions, as the truth is far from coming to light. A few months later, Rem took care of the funeral arrangements, so that his mother could have a burial according to Islamic religion. Despite this, he had a marble tombstone built as a symbol of Cassia's purity. Meanwhile, the World Cup is being contested in Qatar, and the country's authorities have consistently refused to address the questions from the media in Madrid and France regarding the situation. As for them, what matters is the biggest party in sports, and, of course, the juicy profits that this represents. If you like this video, don't forget to follow me on my Let's Say secondary channel, where you can find me as Pepe Mysterioris, and the one I have in collaboration with Test Mysterios, the name of which will be appearing here. Thank you.